Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Sorry for the massive break. As I did explain, I think in my last video, which is a long time ago now, I am actually pregnant and we are expecting our first child, and I think it's just led to not a case of I've been too unwell. As you'll see from this video, I'm going to discuss my pregnancy journey with you, but it's just led to feeling, you know, when I got home I always had lots of things to do, and I don't know, I really didn't feel like filming. I think, you know, you've got to be in that right mood. So I'm back anyway, and I've filmed a few videos today, so I certainly can promise there'll at least be a few videos coming up for the near future. You know, try and get back to posting. Obviously natural daylight's great, so I can get some better pictures and actually be able to get them and put them up, as it's hard when you work full time to get, you know, good lighting for photos and things for blog posts. So anyway, that out of the way. As the title suggests, today I thought I would just chat to you about my sort of pregnancy journey. I think everyone's pregnancy is so different, and I really loved watching a lot of, you know, people's pregnancy journeys. I know people have actually done like weekly updates and things. I just didn't feel it was right for me to do weekly updates. I don't think there was enough sort of different things going on to warrant a full video. So I'm actually doing my halfway video, if that makes sense. I'm actually, at the time of filming this, I'm 22 weeks tomorrow, so I'm just over halfway. So I'm going to talk you through, I suppose, my experience, how I found pregnancy, my symptoms. Some of it will be quite graphic. I suppose that's the nature of these type of videos, that you want the truth of how you're going to feel. So if you're someone that's a bit squeamish to, you know, certain things, you know, there might be too much information for you, maybe don't watch it. But I am going to be totally truthful with all the different things that I've experienced, symptoms that I know are quite common for other people maybe I haven't had, and then just talk through a few different bits and bobs that are like products I've enjoyed using, a few things in terms of switching up my skincare and that type of thing. So in terms of my pregnancy journey, I suppose the quickest way to sort of summarise my experience thus far is I've had a very straightforward pregnancy. I've been really fortunate. I have not felt poorly, I haven't felt really tired, I haven't, you know, had lots of sickness. I've had like a really lovely pregnancy. I know a lot of people say, oh, you know, anyone that says they love pregnancy is mental. I say I love pregnancy. You know, you don't fit in your clothes, you can't have a drink, there's lots of things you can't eat, but it is still a really wonderful experience. And because I haven't been negatively affected, I don't think it's anything that's like really sort of warm me down. Maybe come back to me in another couple of months' time when it's the peak of summer and I'm ready to drop, then I might feel a bit different. But at the moment I've been enjoying it on the whole, and I haven't felt too poorly. So I suppose the most common symptom, especially in early pregnancy, is sickness, and I didn't really experience that. From 5 weeks and 5 days started to get a little bit of, I suppose, nausea. Like, I did feel a bit sick, and I did feel like the only thing that would take it away was eating, and there were lots of foods that I really went off, which I'll touch on in a bit. So I had to just sort of eat what I could, and that went on to about 9 weeks, and at 9 weeks I didn't have any more sickness. I wasn't sick once, and I wouldn't say at any point I felt like, oh, you know, oh my god, like, oh, I'm going to be sick, or I need to go home, or I can't be here. It was just a bit more of general, like, oh, like a bit seasicky. And I thought it was very much the start of what was to come. And I kind of kept expecting this, like, one morning to wake up and have to run to the toilet and vomit. And I just never really had that experience. I was quite fortunate from that point of view. And my main sickness quite early on swapped to in the night, which I suppose was inconvenient, but it was only a couple of weeks and it wasn't terrible. But what I started finding happening was I would wake up, usually about 3 AM, feeling like really quite sick. So I'm I'm wheat intolerant, so I had like some free from ginger biscuits by the bed, and I would have one of those if I felt particularly like sick, or if not, I'd just sort of maybe have a sip of my water, and I would say it was probably only about 10 minutes it would keep me awake for, and then I would go back to sleep. So that happened for a bit. Then I started finding that that came a bit more regular, so it was sort of almost like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, waking up almost on the hour. But again, it was for literally a couple of minutes at a time. I wasn't lying awake for hours. I'm a really good sleeper. There's very few things that wake me up. So I was awake, but I'm not someone whose mind turns on and that's it, I'm lying awake. It's like, okay, you need to go back to sleep now. And I would just go back to sleep. So it wasn't too bad. So that was sort of my sickness thing. From that, so the two things to try, obviously eating. I didn't have any massive cravings. The only thing I did crave, I'm still having it now, but it's silly really because I know I'm not craving it. I really did crave it. Was caffeine-free Diet Coke from a can. Really cold out the fridge, and it had to be in a can. A few times Andy, bless him, would get me one ready for dinner and he'd pour it in a glass, which is how I would always normally drink a drink. I wouldn't have it out of a can. And he'd put ice in it and I'd just be like, what have you done that for? So it had to be out of the can, and I think it was to do with the fizziness, that when it's in a can it like really hits the back of your throat as like a fizzy drink, and I loved that about it. So I definitely was craving that. Other than that, I didn't have any cravings. I still haven't had any cravings, but I have had a lot of taste aversions. Not as bad now, but at the beginning there were lots of things that I could eat the one day and then the next day it'd come to it and I'd just be like, oh no. So one of my favourite foods is pulled pork, like a barbecue pulled pork with coleslaw and, you know, cheese, something like that. I love it. And the thought of pulled pork was just turning my stomach, as were loads of other foods. There wasn't any, you know, common theme to what foods, but lots of things I just would wake up on the day and couldn't eat. Soup, oh no, went off that. Loads of things. So people would say, like, I think how many weeks would it have been? Well, my birthday's the 17th of March. I found out that I was pregnant at the end of January, and obviously when you find out, you're classed as 4 weeks pregnant. So I was coming up to, I suppose, 3 months pregnant by my birthday, and my sister came back for the weekend and they were all coming for like a big breakfast. Amy was like, well, I'll do the breakfast, which is my sister, I'll do the breakfast, like, what do you fancy? I was like, you're going to have to ask me nearer the time, because I could have completely gone off my normal favourite foods by the time it comes to it. So that, I suppose, was a fairly strong symptom, and some of the girls in the office that I didn't think had clocked I was pregnant were like, Alice, you were eating cheese and chutney toasties like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, like that's very out of character for you who likes to eat salad. So I definitely knew you were pregnant. So I think there were some differences in my eating. I just fancied a lot of carbs. I couldn't face a lot of the normal foods, and I liked things like, you know, like, as I say, cheese and chutney toasties, gluten free sadly, same like pizza, all those type of things. So quite stodgy foods, which I know wasn't great. And it's weird because I said I wasn't feeling ill, but I just couldn't face them. It just wasn't something that appealed to me. The other symptom I would say that I had, touching on the Coke and the glass, and I would say was probably my main symptom, was really, really strong, like, hormones, in terms of like experiencing real, like, genuine rage. Now, I don't suffer from PMT. Again, this might be TMI, but my contraceptive pill that I used to be on meant that I didn't actually have periods. So I've never experienced, sort of, I suppose, in the recent years, like, sort of your typical period cycle, and therefore PMT. So I was really quite fortunate and caught very quickly. And so I'd had one full cycle and then we caught. And so around the time when I was expecting my second period was obviously when I was pregnant. And so I started to experience this real, like, just genuine built-in rage. Like, I was just getting so irritated by things that just weren't rational to be annoyed. Well, you know, you'd be annoyed at them, but not like, you know, like wanting to squeeze Andy's head and kill him. Like, that's not a rational emotion for someone spilling some cereal on the floor. But that was how I was feeling, and some of my friends that have already got kids were like, you need to pee on a stick, like, you're definitely pregnant. And I was like, no, don't be silly, I'm not. And it turns out I was. So for me, it's a really unusual emotion because I'm not someone that's used to experiencing like monthly mood swings. My husband might beg to differ and say I have mood swings at all times, but for me, it definitely felt different. And I would say it's definitely calmed down now, and I think actually, as much as I joke about Andy, I think he would say I haven't been too bad, but there are a lot of things that I think maybe just irritate me more than normal. And maybe not that they irritate me, but that like I feel like I can't control my response to them. So just one example was we'd gone away to the Cotswolds with Mum and Dad, Amy and her husband John, and me and Andy. And it was the first night. I'd driven down. I'd said I'd drive because I wasn't going to drink or anything over the weekend, so I'd drive. So I'd done the drive, I'd helped unpack, I was then doing dinner, and you know, obviously I am pregnant, not that that's a card to play, but I was doing dinner and my dad shouts from the table, because you could see through to the kitchen, something to do with that I was hunching, because I was leaning over the stove like stirring something, and I like, bit his head off. And I think there was a balance of, you know, probably wasn't the most sensitive to say that when you're doing everything, but equally I probably wouldn't normally have bitten his head off for that, but I did have like a real go at him for it. So I think, yeah, pregnancy rage was my main symptom. Other than that, I've had a few unusual things. So early on, and this is definitely going to be, people that don't like graphic, don't listen, but I don't know if it's linked to my wheat intolerance, but there were loads of things online from people with like celiac, and which I've never had tests for celiac, I've not bothered, I just cut it and I feel fine. But from people with celiac and wheat intolerance saying that they got this, but it could be other people do too. Leave it down in the comments if you've ever experienced this. But I found for the first few months that I would, before I needed to go for a number 2, I would get really bad contraction type feelings. So mid-nail appointment, I actually had to leave the nail appointment because I thought, you know, that I might be losing the baby because the pain was that bad. Like my stomach was cramping, I was crying, I was walking up and down the street, and it was really hurting. And then I went to the toilet, the pain carried on for a little bit, and then it started to ease and it completely went. And I noticed a cycle of this, and it was like I would go hot, and I'd literally have to be like, you know, I've never had a baby, and I'm not saying it is a contraction, I'm sure it'd be like a very mild one, but I was having to literally like breathe through it. And then once I'd been, the pain would ease up. So that was a really unusual symptom that I probably wasn't expecting, hadn't really heard about before. And I had a bit of sort of like shooting pains in my lady areas. I can't really describe where, but I would get like shooting pains and feel like I needed to hold myself a little bit. And again, that's not something I've really heard about, but I mentioned to my friends that have all got babies, and a lot of them had said they'd experienced that, so I think that must be something fairly normal. That again has eased up. At the moment, obviously I'm in my 2nd trimester, and I'm not really experiencing anything. In terms of sleeping, as I say, not a lot of things stop me sleeping, so I've slept really well. I've not found that I've at any point needed to go to the toilet more, which I've been really fortunate. I know a lot of my friends have been non-stop weeing through the night and everything. I don't have that, but as I say, I have genuinely slept through earthquakes, so a lot has to wake me, and when I wake up I do have a full bladder, but I don't need to go regularly. Some days I don't go, after my first wee I don't go again until the afternoon for a wee, so. And I am drinking enough, having a lot of water, but yeah, so I haven't needed to go to the toilet a lot. My sleep's been quite good, but I do sleep on my front, which they say is completely safe in pregnancy, but obviously it's not going to be particularly feasible for that long. And I'm getting to the point now where, yeah, like it's not the most comfortable now, so I'm hoping that sleep doesn't deteriorate. Now I'm having to sleep in different positions, because my favourite position would be your back, which you can't, or you're not meant to sleep in it, especially in the second half of pregnancy, because it can restrict the blood flow, I think, down a main, would it be artery or vein, or if it's flow to vein. Yeah, I think artery flows the blood away. I don't know. Anyway, it restricts something. But they say second half, so I've kind of not been too worried up to now, but I'm getting bigger and want to try and be more aware about that. So I might try some different pregnancy pillows. If anyone's got any recommendations, I'd really love that if you left them down below, so that I can try the best of things. And I'm finding it's getting hotter now, so I don't know if you can hear the birds. I've got all the windows open, and I think you can feel the difference. Another massive thing for me is that my bust has really grown. I've gone up, wow, I've gone up down my back, and I've gone up 2 cup sizes already. So my bust is a lot bigger, and some of my friends keep saying like, I can't believe how big your boobs are. I've always had really tiny boobs. And that's something else that then in the hot weather, I know this sounds gross, but I'm finding I'm getting almost like a little like heat rash between my boobs, and I think it's because I've never really had cleavage before, and now I'm finding obviously that they are rubbing together at all times, and so I'm getting like little red, like yeah, like almost like not pimples but that type of thing between my bust. And I feel like obviously when you get sweaty, like I think if I wipe my finger you can feel like just not loads but you know a little bit, because I'm not used to them being crammed together. So I'm not wearing a bra today. I'm choosing to try and not wear them when I can so that they're not together, because the second you put a bra on, obviously I'm not wearing push-up bras, but they are quite close together and it's not something I'm used to. So those I would say have been sort of my main symptoms, or you know, I suppose like pregnancy side effects at the moment. Obviously we've still got the last trimester to come, so we'll see. I would say that I haven't had to make a lot of changes in terms of my skincare. You obviously have to cut retinol and any form of the vitamin A family. That's it really. I mean, you can get really funny and some people cut acids and other things, but you know, there's no evidence to support that you need to do that. So on a whole, I've really kept my skincare the same. I've just cut the retinols out, so I gave them away because they were going to be, you know, out of date and not effective by the time pregnancy was over. So I think my mum benefited from those. And other than that, I've still just been doing the same. The only thing I would say is I certainly went through a period, I didn't suffer, as I mentioned, from severe fatigue or anything like that, but I did just become a little bit apathetic towards a lot of things. Like I just couldn't be asked to do anything really. And it wasn't like I needed to sleep, I didn't need to sit down, but I just had no mojo for like coming in and getting jobs done or what have you. I didn't feel like it. And for me, one of the things was my skincare, which is really unusual because I normally love doing it, but I just found myself using like micellar water, which is something I would normally like not really recommend. I say to my friends, oh, you're just rubbing the dirt around your face, but it just got to the point where I thought, well, at least I'm taking it off. And I would do quite a few cotton pads, and I was standing there hearing my own message in my head of the amount of cotton pads you've gone through and the amount of time it's taken you to get the cotton pads to be clean. I could have just cleansed my face, but I just couldn't be bothered. I do think in my defence, during that time we'd also had the bathroom spruced up and we were without a sink for quite a while because, what happened now? Oh, no, it wasn't the sink. The tap didn't fit, and so by the time the plumber came back, it had been quite a few weeks without a tap over the sink. So we're having to lean over the bath, which again, when you're already feeling a bit like, I can't be bothered to do this, the last thing you then want to do is have to do your cleansing over the bath. So I did go to micellar water, but I did really see a difference in my skin. Quite a lot really. And since I've gone back to doing a proper skincare routine, I feel like I've got a bit of my glow back. I have noticed, because I have laid off vitamin C, which you absolutely don't have to do in pregnancy, but I get a lot of peeling and a lot of like nasties from vitamin C. But I've just got a scar from a blemish here that I've had now, it must be 6 months. And I think because I've also had to avoid the retinol for the last 5 months, and then I'm not doing the vitamin C, which is obviously the skin renewal, it is lingering, so I might try and introduce that, but I hadn't up to this point. What else did I want to tell you about? So in terms of what we've actually sort of done so far, I have been quite early, I suppose, in my planning. Some people wait till quite late on to buy things because they think it might jinx stuff. I'm kind of not of that view. I think what's meant to be is meant to be, and whether I choose to buy some stuff for the nursery or don't, it's not going to affect the outcome of my pregnancy. So we have planned the nursery. We haven't finished it, we haven't done it, but I've bought the sort of bedding and bits and bobs for it, and we've got the decorator coming in a week's time to actually do the painting, and then we can sort of get the furniture, well, I've ordered it, but it's got like a 4-week wait, so that can then arrive and get built and start, you know, sorting everything out for in there, which is nice. Bought quite a few outfits and things. I've got like clothes sorted, and I've been quite lucky in that a lot of my friends have already had babies, so are able to sort of say like, you know, I think you need quite a lot of these, but don't bother with that, it's a waste of money. So I've been able to take a lot of advice from sort of here, there and everywhere in terms of that. terms of weight gain, I haven't really got on the scales because I'd already put on, I mean, it's hard to say because I don't know where you base your normal weight from, but I got married 3 years ago this July, and obviously I was at my lowest weight then, so let's not go on that weight, but let's say put half a stone on from there and say that's my normal weight. So from that weight, before I even got pregnant, I'd actually put on a stone and almost a half. And so we went to Dubai for New Year, and I was like, when I get back, like, I'm not going to restrict my eating and drinking. We're on holiday, we're having an amazing time with friends, and you know, I want to enjoy myself. When I get back to the gym, back on it. And I did. I came back, I went to like 3 or 4 yoga classes a week, started introducing like some of my HIIT sessions and stuff. But as I explained, I got pregnant sort of straight away, and I did try and then keep the gym up, but obviously I didn't feel like eating salads, and I explained I was eating a lot of like toasties and pizza and stuff. So I did go a bit, but I was really worried at the beginning, which I think is a normal emotion for someone to feel, especially with your first pregnancy, that, you know, anything could affect it. And so I was quite careful with what exercise I did because I didn't really know what was safe and what wasn't, and didn't really want to ask someone because I didn't want to tell them I was pregnant yet. So I went and just did basically some gentle cardio and would try and keep up. I did a few hits, not HIIT sessions, but like circuits with my mum who goes to the same gym, but I didn't do loads. So I don't really know how much weight I put on because I put so much on before I already got pregnant. So I think at the moment I've put on about 5 to 6 pounds, but I obviously feel like I'm a good 1.5 stone over my normal weight because of how much I'd already put on. But I can't blame pregnancy for that I'd already put on myself. So I'm trying to keep myself in a place of now going. I went yesterday to the gym and trying to just do cardio, and I'm hoping it obviously will help with the labour if I'm a bit fitter, sort of cardiovascular for endurance. And I'm just going to have to deal with it when the baby comes, and hopefully Andy can have him. I say him, yeah, we're having a little boy, so Andy can have him whilst when he comes back from work, when I'm feeling a bit better, to then go and actually, you know, try and do something. I'm actually bridesmaid in February for one of my best friends. I'm really excited, and I don't want to look like I'm still pregnant, have people asking me when I'm due, so I'm going to do everything I can to sort of shift the baby weight. But I appreciate, you know, there's a massive lifestyle change. I don't know how feasible that is, but we'll see. And the only other thing I wanted to mention really was just the body butter that I've been using, and it's the, let me just go and get it actually. So it's the Mama Mio Fit Skin for Life, the Tummy Rub Butter. And I bought this for my best friend who found out, I think it was maybe only like 5 weeks after me, that she, in fact it might not have even been that long after when I found out, but I think she's 5 weeks behind me. That she's having twins, which is so exciting, and so I bought this for her because I was loving using it so much. And I know there's really mixed views on whether it does anything for stretch marks. If you're going to get them, you're going to get them, but for me, I like rubbing it into my bump. I think I'd rather do it than not. If it helps, great. If it doesn't, I've done it. It smells really good. It doesn't smell as amazing in the pot, but when you actually put it on your skin, it smells amazing. I'm almost out, so I'm going to have to get my second tub. And it says here that it elasticises, moisturises and soothes. Please use with joy throughout your amazing pregnancy and for 4 months after baby has arrived. Apply twice a day from above the boobs to below your bump, all the way around. Packed with natural omegas, our award-winning tummy rub butter. Smells gorgeous and makes you feel gorgeous, and I must agree it does. All I would say is I am finding it more difficult in the hot weather because, as with any moisturiser, you can start to feel really sticky. So there is one other product, I've only just started using it, and as I just touched on, like, my boobs have really increased in size, and I noticed just this week I've started to actually get some like stretch marks on them. I thought it was veins, but I'm pretty sure it's like purpley stretch marks, and it's because for me obviously they have grown quite significantly. So I've started to use the pregnancy boob tube as well, which came from the same set. It was something that my sister got me. There was also a leg one, I think for late in pregnancy with your legs, and another product, a spritz of, oh no, a liquid yoga, I think it was, their famous liquid yoga. I think it was a mini one of those, or it might have been a liquid yoga spray. But again, I'm saving those because I think I've been quite lucky, I haven't needed them yet, so I don't want to waste using them. I want to save until I really need them. But I've just cracked this out earlier this week, and it's the bust cream. Now I think this is actually meant to help, yeah, so it says the skin of your, I don't even know how you say it, décolleté, is fragile and not very elastic, so you need to help protect it. Pregnancy boob tube is rich in vital omegas to help lock in hydration, antioxidants to help skin appear stronger. So, oh, we've even sourced incredible extracts from cabbage, and I have heard obviously cabbage is meant to help with your boobs. I don't know if it's a myth, but yeah, basically I've just started using this, we'll see, but I'm applying that as well. And there's it's quite a big bottle actually, yeah, 100 ml, so that should last me now for the rest of pregnancy, as I'm already over halfway and I've only just started using it. So they're my two main pregnancy products so far. Obviously, as I get bigger I might start trying different things. I haven't really found, you know, that there's been a particular vitamin that I've really recommended. I took my folic acid and vitamin D at the beginning. I did use Pregnant Care for a bit after the first 3 months, but I haven't got any issues with my readings from my bloods, they're all fine. And I'm not very good at taking tablets and they're huge, so I'm just trying to make sure that I do get a lot of vegetables and fruit and things. If anything goes wrong, obviously I will start taking them, but you know, the main sort of ones that I needed I took at the beginning, and now I've sort of just gone back to my normal lifestyle really. And yeah, I mean that so far is my sort of pregnancy journey. Any questions, please leave them down below. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry there's been such a big break, and I'd love it if you subscribed and came back for more, which I promise there will be, and I will see you next time. Bye!